Hello, Dawai sir.
Yes. Shall we start?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, boys. Today first son. For making our breakfast.
Dawai sir, hello. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Good morning and welcome all the delegates in the fourth day of 1 week online faculty development program on innovative trends in pharmaceutical sciences. Today we have with us Dr. Ashok Hazare sir, Professor, Department of Pharmaceutics, Bharatiya Vidyapeeth College of Pharmacy, Kolhapur. I would like to request Dr. T. A. Bhagwat sir to introduce Dr. Ashok Hazare sir. Sir, please.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, one and all. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce Professor Dr. Ashok Hazare, sir. Sir has completed his B.Pharm, M.Pharm and PhD from Bharatiya Vidyapeeth, Pune College of Pharmacy, Pune. He has total 26 years of UG, PG and PhD teaching and research experience. He taught almost all subjects of pharmaceutics and pharmaceutical technology. He guided 52 M.Pharm and PhD students. His research specialization is formulation design, novel drug delivery system, and stabilization of labile materials. He's published 12 books, all of we know sir for his physical pharmacy book. He also published 52 research papers and 16 review articles. He filed 5 patents. He is a life member of APTI and International Society for Lyophilization Freeze Drying USA. He received many prestigious awards such as Barrister P.G. Patil Ideal Teacher Award from Shivaji University, Kolhapur in 2014, Best Teacher Award from Rotary Club of Kolhapur 2015, Best Teacher Award from Avishkar Foundation at Goa in 2017. Sir is a resource person at Pharmacist Refresher course conducted by Maharashtra State Pharmacy Council, Mumbai. Sorry for interruption. Sir is a resource person for Pharmacist Refresher course conducted by Maharashtra State Pharmacy Council, Mumbai, and delivered many lectures at various conferences, symposium, workshops, and faculty development programs. Currently, he is working as a professor, Department of I request Professor Dr. Hazare sir. Hello.
Yes, Dr. Bhagwat.
हाँ sir.
Shall I begin?
I request you to please guide us on freeze drying, analytics, lyotherm and lyostate. Please, sir.
Can I share the screen?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, good morning, one and all. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. H.N. More sir, Principal of Bharatiya Vidyapeeth College of Pharmacy, Kolhapur, Dr. N.R. Jadhav, convener of this faculty development program, for giving me an opportunity to talk on a novel issue of freeze drying analytics, especially lyostat and lyotherm technologies for characterization of freeze drying cycle. There is a particular objective behind selecting this topic because as an academician and researcher, I found many difficulties because majority of the academic institutes don't have freeze drying equipment. During our BPharm or MPharm or doctoral studies, we usually go for a theoretical component of this unit operation. Although we know about theoretical component, we rarely go for trying to find out what are the difficulties that we face, and we are not aware that what would happen to a product if the cycle is not designed properly. Since we have a freeze dryer with us, and I'm working on a freeze drying cycle optimization and formulation development since last 15 to 16 years. Since last 8 years, we are processing various samples that we receive from different organizations and research scholars for their drying by this technique. Whenever I receive samples, nobody provides us information about how it is to be processed, because it's not a conventional method of drying material. It requires certain basics that should be known to us prior to go for drying, because there are certain issues like critical temperatures which may affect the product feature and the processing condition of a formulation. And therefore it is must to know certain properties of a material that we need to take into consideration so that appropriate cycle can be designed by manipulating temperature and pressure. So today we'll begin this topic with what does the freeze drying means. But prior to that, there is a disclaimer, because I have used certain images, pictures, and some of the data from openly available on internet. So with the objective that this content is only for the purpose of education, I feel that this is not a infringement of a copyright. Okay. So as you know, freeze drying is a water removal process. From a solution or from suspension, the liquid component is removed, because our objective is to maintain a stability of labile material, particularly thermolabile material, or material that is hampered by some other stresses like hydrolysis and so. So the ultimate objective of using this process is to extend shelf life and to make the material convenient for transport and storage. The basic principle or the processing steps includes first freezing of a material, followed by reducing pressure and application of heat so that the frozen material will be sublimed, leaving behind a solid residue. So this is a freeze drying process which involves a first solution formulation, where when heat is removed, it becomes solid like ice, and upon application of heat in the process of primary drying, major amount of moisture is removed from the solid mass, called as primary drying. Almost 90% of moisture or the solvent is removed through the process of sublimation, and is followed by secondary drying, wherein again heat is input a bit more amount, where a desorption of solvent through the process of diffusion takes place, leaving a solid residue as a cake, which contains, as per regulation, not more than 3%. Freeze drying cycle development is very important, because if we cannot process material as per the optimized cycle, then there is a chance that we may get a degraded product or product with unexpected or undesired features. As compared to other drying technologies or methods, freeze drying, it is a very time consuming and expensive process. As you know, it takes minimum 2 days, and it can be extended up to 4-5 days. It depends upon the formulation components and the nature of material. Just need it disturbs me. Okay. To lower the cost of manufacturing of any formulation, effective cycle time should be there. It should be low as possible, because all other costs are incurred in the product cost. So ultimately, we must go for a cycle that will be completed with short time. And this goal is achieved by optimizing freeze drying cycle that will have a minimum time. Particularly, the drying phase time is required to be reduced, because primary and secondary drying times, if are compared, the secondary drying time is almost 10 to 20% of the primary drying time, because in secondary drying, a temperature is a bit more compared to primary drying. So while designing a cycle, critical temperature of product is very important, because this temperature affects the product features, and this governs the maximum allowable temperature during primary drying. Because see, primary drying or this freeze drying, it is a sublimation process. Means our basic product, which is freezed, it must remain in solid state. It should not be in molten or in liquid state, because sublimation has to be executed. So it is a process of converting a solid into vapor state or gaseous state. So material must remain in the solid state throughout the primary drying as well as secondary drying process. So there are temperatures where the product may be softened, it may be in liquid form. So to avoid that, we have to first determine critical temperature. So if we are successful in determining that temperature, yes, we can design a cycle. Any temperature below that critical temperature, if we are employing for primary drying, product will remain solid state and the drying will be faster. So the overall goal of primary drying cycle optimization is to keep product temperature close to critical temperature, but below critical temperature during primary drying, so that we can shorten the freeze drying cycle time. There are different analytical techniques used since freeze drying technology or this process has been developed. The prominent among them includes gravimetric measurements, where moisture content is determined, product temperature sensors, where temperature changes in temperature is determined, or difference in temperature is actually determined between the vapor in the chamber and the product. Then heat transducers are used to find out temperature differences. Manometric temperature measurements are also used, that uses dry layer resistance. Then tunable diode laser absorption spectroscopy is also used, wherein a temperature and the concentration of solute in the formulation is determined, and the visual monitoring of ice interface, that we can have a look at the product and continuously monitor it. And the most commonly used method, conventional method, is DSC, where enthalpy changes are used as indication of product critical temperature. So why critical temperatures are important in freeze drying? So freeze drying above product critical temperature, it can lead to, as I mentioned, it should be conducted below, but not too far below. It should be just close to a critical temperature. So this is important because it can lead to loss of physical structure of a cake. Then incomplete drying because of high moisture content, maybe low soluble product, then reduction in activity or stability of product. This is what happens when primary drying temperature is above critical temperature. Whereas if temperature is far below the critical temperature, it leads to poor efficiency, high running cost, and longer cycles than usually we follow. So why critical temperatures or what are different critical temperatures in freeze drying. So these includes collapse temperature, eutectic temperatures, and glass transition temperature. So collapse temperature means temperature where material softens to a point of not being able to support its own structure. The structure is getting collapsed, cake is not formed. So it remains at the bottom instead of having a cake, which is required for faster reconstitution of a product at the time of use. Second is eutectic temperature. This temperature where the material, a solute material melts, preventing any structure from forming after the solvent has been removed. Here also again melting leads to loss of structure which is required during drying for a removal or for liberation of solvent as well as for maintaining integrity, so that structure will be porous in nature and we can easily reconstitute it at the time of administration. And the third one, the glass transition temperature. It is the temperature at which frozen glass first exhibits change in viscosity from brittle solid into soft solid. So here again a physical nature of material changes which is not suitable for a sublimation process. So these are together called as critical temperatures. So these temperatures are applicable to different type of material: glass transition temperature, eutectic temperature, or collapse temperature. Now what is effect of formulation components on critical temperatures? Usually higher molecular weight components such as polymers, they tend to have higher critical temperatures, whereas low molecular components such as salts and small sugars, they tend to have lower critical temperatures. So it is always advisable to have a suitable amounts of these materials. Again, there are crystalline and amorphous mixtures which can have a major impact on critical temperatures. I've quoted one example of lactose with sodium chloride. First case where both these components are in 1:1 ratio, having critical temperature of -30, whereas the lactose and NaCl at proportion of 1:0.3, the critical temperature is -45. So it is always better to have a critical temperature close to 0, because that will save a lot of electrical energy that is required for maintaining this system to be operational. Now, what is difference between collapse temperature and glass transition temperature? So as we know, many freeze drying cycles, they use glass transition temperature as critical temperature for development of these cycles. But TG can be significantly lower than the critical temperature.
Professor Hazare.
Yes, sir.
Can you be a bit louder, or you just check for your settings of volume?
Yes, I will.
There are certain complaints from faculty. Please do that.
Now is it okay? Am I audible now enough?
Now this is fine. This
okay.
Is fine. Please
okay. Yes. So lower primary drying temperatures mean lower processing and more expensive cycles. Although TG is significant, many formulations can be dried safely above this point. And this knowledge of critical temperature is strongly recommended for formulation and freeze drying cycle development and optimization. Now, how critical temperatures are determined? There are two techniques called lyostat and lyotherm. These are developed last 15 years back, but not most commonly used by manufacturers manufacturing lyophilized pharmaceutical products, because the cost of this instrument is comparatively high. So using the extensive knowledge and experience of pharmaceutical industry, biopharma technology, they have developed two unique analytical instruments. So these instruments are based on the rational scientific understanding of freeze drying cycle development. So lyostat is used for, or lyostat also called as freeze drying microscope, and the lyotherm, it is an integrated differential thermal analysis and impedance analyzer. So first we will see what is a lyostat. As I mentioned, it is freeze drying microscope developed by Biopharma Technology. It provides rational scientific basis for freeze drying cycle development. It provides powerful tool, or it is a powerful tool for freeze drying R&D scientist. So it is used to, till date, it is used to analyze over 1800 different lyophilized formulations of a small drug to large complex biomolecules. So these are two pictures of two versions of this lyostat. The first picture is of a lyostat second generation microscope, whereas this picture is fifth generation, recently introduced in 2019 lyostat freeze drying microscope. So it consists of different components. First is a cryostage, whose temperature we can vary from minus 196 to plus 125 degrees Celsius. It has a facility to heat or cool a product over a temperature of 130 degrees Celsius per minute. The imaging station is particularly built for formulations. It can be set on small bench top. It has very high resolution power than standard compound microscope. And it has facility to tilt the lens as well as camera for easy loading of samples. Another component is temperature control system. So temperature is controlled by carefully balancing heat input from heating element. There is a facility for heating and precise control of liquid nitrogen through the silver block. The temperature is measured to 0.01 degrees Celsius by platinum 100 resistor mounted close to sample, and it is controlled to a level of 0.1 degrees Celsius or even down to pressures as low as 10⁻³ millibars. It has high performance digital firewire camera as well as a dedicated digital image capture software. So it displays actual real-time pictures, real-time temperature and pressure information of the formulation, and it gives a user full control of heating rate. He can control it, he can limit it, he can hold it for a number of time, for number of ramps within the desired or set temperature profile. So images are captured in integrated manner with respect to temperature as set in the program. And these images can be loaded into a gallery of either 2, 8, or 32 images for closer inspection if you want to compare first and last image or in between images. The very important component of this system is vacuum pump. Actually, FDM is a small model of a laboratory freeze dryer. It is a simulated version to in situ visualize what happens when product is dried in freeze drying chamber. It consists of vacuum pump, vacuum gauge, as well as optional motorized vacuum control system. So the chamber pressure is controlled by software. It enables close investigation of effect of pressure on the sample collapse, because as pressure is reduced in the chamber, the sample may get collapse. The pressure is indicated in different units like torr, microns, millibars, or Pascal. And this pressure is plotted with temperature against time and can be saved for analysis. So this is Linksys software used for analyzing the physical nature or drying aspect of the material that is put on the stage of this freeze drying microscope. So it has different options here to set temperature, pressure, even time. This is how the data on screen looks. So these are options to view pictures. We can even create movie of captured pictures later on, so that we can see how changes are taking place during the drying. So this file can be contains all information from the analytical run, and we can save it in the format of .avi. So this data chart shows temperature and pressure information throughout the procedure while drying a sample on the freeze drying microscope stage. So actually this graph represents one line here, the central line. Any point on this line will show one picture here. You just move the cursor on this line, you will find different pictures. So you can imagine what happens to dried material or the material that was in frozen state in the process of drying, how that drying curve moves towards the other end. So each point on this purple line, this one line, represents a single image viewed by selecting it with a cursor. You can just click on this line, you will find picture here. So this single image view enable us to draw lines and size bar to measure between points of interest on the image. So we can differentiate two pictures, any two pictures on this line to understand the progress of drying. So data, time, vacuum, temperature, and ramp information, all these things is displayed under image. So here at this location, you will find everything about this particular picture. How I can, yes. Now see, this is the view of images that we can find. This is a 32 images view. So it has different options like gallery navigation, then zooming of a particular image and image number. So this gallery view enables for fast sorting of these images. It shows how drying progresses across a longer time frame. So for larger images, the gallery can be viewed of less images. As I mentioned earlier, we can reduce it to 8 or we can reduce it to 2, and 1 is obvious as we seen on earlier graph. Just click at the point, you can find one image at a time. So crust formation is very important state during the drying of material in freeze drying, because this crust prevents liberation of vapor from ice, so that material can remain in dried stage. So image of a solution showing evidence of crust formation. So this is one image where there is a crust, the dark portion, this line shows the crust that is formed. So this blocks the vapors that are formed here during the process of sublimation inside the crust. This second image, it represents the breakage of this crust, leaving the vapors that are present in the ice, frozen ice. You can read the information about what I just mentioned here under these images. Now, how actually this freeze drying microscope is used for analyzing the drying stages of material using this particular technology. So first we have to unscrew lid and side door. This is side door. We have to open it, and this is lid that we have to remove from this area. Place the sample holder on a block and close the door. So we have to place sample holder here. Place drop of silicone oil on the sample block for sealing. Then place a quartz cover slip in the sample holder. Over that, place a ring to control outer environment from this particular environment, because we have to create a vacuum inside this for drying. Then only 2 microliter of sample is required to be placed on the quartz cover slips. And then another small cover slip is placed on the sample as a top slip. Now, actually, this is the arrangement of different elements of this freeze drying microscope. So this is objective, and this is light source. This is a temperature controlled block that is to be placed at the first. Then sample holder, silicone oil has to be placed over here for lubrication. Then quartz cover slip followed by metal spacer ring, then a glass cover, and the 2 microliter sample is to be placed on this quartz cover slip. Now, how the sample is freezed. So one sample is loaded onto the stage, it can be viewed in real time on the computer screen. So you can see such type of images on the screen. This program, we have to program our freezing temperatures and then initiate the pump at just one click. You have to just click a option there and the process of freeze drying will begin. So when freezing temperature is attained, it can be held to ensure complete freezing. So initially first we have to freeze the sample and then we have to proceed with primary drying. Then turn on vacuum pump to begin the drying of the sample as primary drying. Now this is drying of amorphous product. So when drying sublimation front, this is sublimation front as shown here. It moves from one side of the sample to other side. So these arrows indicates the direction of movement. So in front of it will be a frozen material and behind will be dried material. So frozen material is in solid state that we got during the freezing stage, and now we are drying material in primary drying. So here we will be able to find out the critical temperature, because in primary drying there are different ramps. We have to slowly stepwise increase temperature by a degree or 2 or 5 or 10. Usually 2-degree ramp is used, but it depends upon the type of material and amount of material. So collapse temperature is obtained by gradually increasing temperature until collapse is observed. So we have to keep on increasing temperature, moving towards 0 degrees Celsius. And at one stage you will find that material is not drying, but it becomes soft and the structure is getting collapsed. So that change you can observe here in this particular region. So we will see such type of examples on later slides, how the collapse can be observed, how it can be differentiated from the properly dried region. So raising temperature above critical temperature will cause a sample to undergo collapse, and a precise TC can be then found. That means we can have one particular value over these different temperatures, that at what temperature the collapse begins or initiates, and at what temperature material is totally collapsed. So based upon that we can decide a temperature, and this temperature we can use for cycle optimization. So any temperature below that critical temperature or collapse temperature, we can process our material for primary drying. For crystalline products, the same method is applied, but eutectic temperature is obtained instead. Now this is how the crystalline products, if we are drying by freeze drying, how their drying or sublimation fronts looks like. So this is a frozen crystalline material, and this is a dried region. The drying front it is called as. Okay, so with increasing temperature, there is a change in gross morphology. You will see here the comparative this one and this one. So there is change or disturbances in the pattern of a dried material. So this change in morphology of frozen phase, it gives more liquid appearance, and therefore the appearance is a bit shiny. So this is indication that this material or the eutectic temperature has been attained, and this is again considered as collapse temperature. So you can conduct drying or carry out drying below this temperature. So this is the zoomed view of how that front looks like. This is a dried material. Now this is how the material changes its nature over the period of time with respect to elevated temperatures. So these are screenshots of Liostat analysis showing one a frozen product, this one. The second one a dried with good structure, this particular part. And third one is collapse, this particular region. So a freeze drying is used as one of a best technique to find out collapse temperatures. Usually what we do is we go for trial and error cycle development methods, where there is high possibility of product getting collapsed. So this is how the collapsed product looks like. We didn't find any cake inside this because we are not knowing about the critical temperature or collapse temperature. Any product is processed without knowing the such collapse temperatures or critical temperatures. This is what we are going to get. But if we know collapse temperature and process product below that temperature, yes, obviously we are going to get a good appearance product. Now another technique is lyotherm. Actually, it is a unique new cutting edge technology pioneered by same organization, BTL, by Professor Louis Ray. It is used as a solution for most difficult challenges faced by different freeze drying scientists working all over the pharmaceutical industries. Actually, lyotherm is integration or integrated equipment that consists of differential thermal analysis and electrical impedance. So it measures the difference in temperature between sample and reference as heat is either applied or removed from the system. So this is very sensitive to endothermic as well as exothermic processes. As we know, endothermic processes, they gives melting and physical transition in the frozen state, because in endothermic processes the heat is taken up, whereas in exotherms there are crystal transitions and crystallization takes place as heat is given out. So impedance analysis, it provides an indication of mobility of a sample in its frozen state. For drying of a material, as I mentioned earlier, material must remain throughout the period of primary drying in its frozen state. But if there is mobility because of elevated temperature, because over the ramps we are increasing the temperature to faster the drying as well as to shorten the cycle time. But in the process of increasing temperature, it happens that the product is getting liquefied, or its state or mobility is increased. So that is not considered as a good sign for primary drying. So this information about the mobility of a material is obtained by this impedance analysis, where change in the conductivity of a solution is identified. So the software of this impedance analyzer, it shows information about the impedance through this curve. So these inflections in the curve indicates the changes in nature of a material over the period of time. So this is temperature. This x-axis indicates temperature. So we can see other information related with the sample here. So what are benefits of using lyotherm? So this help to improve old formulation as well as we can develop new formulations. It provides data to develop cycles on a rational scientific basis. Again, it saves our valuable time that we spent in the development. It saves money too. It enables us to rapidly determine frozen state behavior of a material. Data can be archived and it can be stored and used for future. And it is not limited to freeze drying research, but can be used for all frozen state applications. Advantages includes we can perform functions similar to that of DSC, as it has inbuilt differential thermal analyzer which identifies significant thermal events. As I mentioned earlier, that it is integrated equipment of electrical impedance as well as differential thermal analysis. So it combines DTI with impedance. So analysis function, this Z sin phi, it provides information about mobility of sample in its frozen state, and it gives more complete picture of events at different temperatures occurring within the product than thermal analysis. So compared to DSC, this particular integrated combination is perfect fit to determine exact temperature, collapse temperature, using a very small amount of sample and at short time. So this lyotherm consists of different components like aluminum heating block designed to distribute heat evenly. This is aluminum heating block, and minimize again variations between the sample. There is a diwar for rapid cooling by liquid nitrogen. So this whole assembly is kept inside this. There are differential thermal analyzer probes, both for sample as well as for reference. There is again a impedance probe and a control box. So data is recorded and plots are obtained of both this impedance as well as differential thermal analysis values, and are available for tracking raw data also. So non-linear cooling curves, these curves, all these three curves, these cooling rate curves are provided by the thermally distributing design of the sample holding the block. As we seen on earlier slide, there was one holding block. So this gives these non-linear curves. So these curves actually indicates physical nature of a material, whether it is in molten state, whether there is rearrangement of particles in the material, whether it is in liquid state, whether it is in solid state, dried state, at what stage actually melting takes place. So all this information we can obtain from these curves. So how data is analyzed, we can see inflections here. So real-time analysis of both these parameters gives results during the analysis. So this can be updated every 5 seconds. So you can have points of, that means change in state of material after every 5 seconds, but we can set different times to that, after 10 seconds, after 1 minute, like that. So the software allow us to export the data directly to Microsoft Excel for easy data interpretation as well as for manipulation if required. So as we discussed for FDM, Lyotherm is also used to solve problem of cycle development, that we can determine the collapse temperature using these two parameters, so that we can have a based formulation with attractive physical appearance as well as physicochemical stability, and most appropriately the structure of a cake. So this Lyotherm 2 also provides us essential information for the cycle development about a critical information of formulation. So this is one case study which was published in one of the journal in 2017. This was related with the collapse temperature determination of doxorubicin formulation using Lyostat. So initially sample was frozen to -60 degrees Celsius at this ramp, 2 degree per minute. And then in primary drying, it was followed by heating to -10 degrees Celsius at 1 degree Celsius per minute at pressure lower than 0.016 millibar. So picture 1 to 5 shows absence of any structural collapse. Picture 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There is no structural collapse. But if you look at picture 9, this one, there was a complete collapse in the dried structure at -19.7 degrees Celsius that we got from the observations. And the composition was essentially sublimed at -5 degrees Celsius. So this is Lyotherm of this same formulation. So if you look at these temperatures, there are 5 temperatures I have mentioned: T1, T2, T3, T4, and T5. So T1 is, there is inflection you will find. So this indicates a matrix destabilization temperature, but that doesn't has much effect on the integrity of a material. T2 represents temperature of complete mobility within the solute structure. There is minor inflection or change in the direction of this curve. So that represents the mobility within the solute structure. That is again because we have to compare Lyotherm with FDM, and combination of these two will give us correct collapse temperatures. T3 represents temperature of ice crystal rearrangement. Again, there is a minor inflection. Whereas T4, the structure collapse temperature, this one, because there is sharp change in the direction of a curve. So this represents the complete or collapse structure of material that we are trying. Whereas at 5, temperature of ice crystal fusion, at this particular stage or temperature, the complete mass is fused and it becomes a liquid. So it is again confirmed by a lyostat as a complete collapse at -1 degree Celsius. So these results we can compare with DTA, the integrated version of this equipment. So same temperatures you will find here at -5 degrees Celsius at this one. There is a decline in the energy curve and a complete melting at this -1 degree Celsius. This is another example of critical or collapse temperature determination. There are total 9 pictures. The values written in red color, these are for a reading purpose. Actual values are below that, but since these are very small font, I have just enlarged them. So these are different events happen in this lyostat at different temperatures with these different pictures. So if you look at these pictures, you will find that how the material is changing. So at -40, this is picture 1, it is behind this table. It is -40, then -34. So there was no collapse observed for first 3 figures. So images were same with no any distraction in this drying front. At picture 4 at -28.7, the collapse symptoms initiated. I don't know whether you can see it or not, but compared to this and this, there are some white spots you can see in this drying front. This indicates initiation of a collapse. As you move further, and you can see here we are increasing temperature stepwise. So as temperature further increases, increases, the collapse is clearly evident. Okay, and at last at -25.9 degrees Celsius here, there is a full collapse of a material. So this is indicated by some shiny part in these images. The same thing when we look on lyotherm, we can see a graph like this. So this average part of this is a -28.7 degrees Celsius. Here it is collapse symptoms initiated. This image. So you can see that here. So this is graph of electrical impedance versus temperature of DTA. So this temperature we identified as a collapse temperature. So if we conduct or carry out primary drying at any temperature below this, on this side, below -28.7, yes, we can have a good product at the end. So in summarizing, these new technologies not commonly known to everyone, because we rarely have freeze drying equipment at our institutes. Forget about having FDA, FDM and lyotherm, but yes, I hope in future we may have these equipments. And as our students are entering into industry, they must be aware of this. So first we must know something about such type of analytical techniques that can be used to reduce, design and optimize freeze drying cycle. So in summarization, in summary, I would like to comment that these two techniques are state-of-art, high-quality systems for characterization of material in situ. These are used in the formulation development for temperature cycle optimization and product characterization. This is most cost-effective lyophilization process. It is a robust and a time-efficient procedure. There is a lot of disturbance in the audio. And characterization of product using this, it mitigates the risk of enhancing regulatory acceptance, because there are stringent regulatory guidelines for freeze-dried products. So it is observed that majority of the products fails at the regulatory level because of improper development of a cycle that leads to stabilization or lower stability of formulations. So if we use these techniques for cycle optimization, yes, the chance of regulatory approval increases. With this, I would like to conclude my session. I'm very much thankful once again to organizers of this event, and very much thankful to all participants for patient listening. Your queries and questions are welcome. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Dr. Hazare sir, for a very informative talk. Now we'll proceed with question answer session. For this, you can either raise your hand or you can type your question in chat box. I think already few questions are there in Zoom chat box. Professor Mahaparle sir is asking, sir, explain LioGuard concept.
LioGuard concept, I have not
Hello.
mentioned about it.
Okay. We move towards another question. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello.
Yes.
Hi, yes, sir. Another one question from Varsha Dado ma'am.
Yes.
Could you explain any herbal juice or aqueous extract can be freeze dried?
Pardon?
Can you explain any herbal juice or aqueous extract
can be freeze dried?
lyophilizer?
No, I am not talking about lyophilizer. Actually, there is a lot of voice disturbance. What is problem?
Hello. What, sir?
Ha, sir. Pardon, sir.
From your end, something disturbance is there.
Hello.
Nice.
Am I?
Dr. Bhagwat sir, there is problem at your end. I will suggest Patil sir to control the session.
Okay, sir. Okay, no problem.
Okay.
So I got the question asked by somebody. Yes, we. Yeah. We can freeze dry any material using freeze dryers. The techniques I explained here, this is for optimization of cycle. We can freeze dry any type of extract. There is no problem. But yes, there is a limitation of equipment that some freeze dryers are meant only for aqueous samples, whereas other equipments are designed in such a manner that yes, organic solvents can be or samples can be processed.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
One more question from Krishnakant Belkar.
Yes.
Does solvent concentration affect parameters setting in freeze dryer?
Solvent concentration, yes. Higher is the solvent concentration, faster is drying. Because if concentration of solvent is high, means concentration of solute is less. If less solute is there, obviously removal of solvent is much easier because diffusion process and all other things, related things, we can do it faster.
Okay. One more question from Ashok Behra, sir.
Yes.
1 minute. What data one will get from this lyophilizer, as I have used lyophilizer to evaporate peptide and proteins only.
Okay.
So I saw lyophilizer machine only this application. Can you please show some application practically in research application part for medicinal chemistry?
I didn't get what exactly
he is expecting about his he has used this lyophilizer to evaporate peptides and proteins only. Can you elaborate some applications in medicinal chemistry?
Actually, see, this is what I am telling. These freeze drying microscope and lyotherm, these are analytical instrument to analyze the state. These are not meant for commercial production. We can use this data for freeze drying of your samples when you use laboratory freeze dryers for drying your sample. So what we are going to get by using these techniques or other techniques like DTA, temperature difference and all this, we get only information related with collapse temperature. And collapse temperature is very important because if we dry material above collapse temperature, we will not be able to get a good quality product. or stable product. So this information we can use for freeze drying. Now he is asking about freeze drying of some proteins and some materials. So exactly what is expecting, I didn't get.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good
This is
afternoon.
Dr. Ashok Behra, sir.
Yes, sir.
My
Yes,
question was that, sir, actually, in medicinal chemistry, I prepared some peptides and to evaporate the to get that compound, I evaporated by using the lyophilizer. So I
Okay.
got the solid product. Then I did the HPLC and I purified the product. You know that peptides and proteins is a heat thermolabile. So
okay, therefore you
that's why we
prepared.
have used this technique to evaporate this to get the compound.
Okay,
So now
okay.
my question is that then I can use HPLC, any other technique. So now I have saw in the
You want to characterize your product.
so now what I have never seen the lyophilizer in such a way that you have explained that we can hyphenatate the DTA with the DSC, right?
No,
so
no.
This is
See, these
I
instruments,
was
these instruments are not available in any of the academic research institutes. Academic or research institute, you will find only at few places in India. Only few lyophilized product manufacturers are having this facility, being very costly equipments. No one can afford them to use it. So we can get this service available as and when required by paying it. But company manufacturers don't provide service to private people.
Okay. So what is your, as you are, sir, expertise in this field, so my question is that, sir, what do you think that in a simple lyophilizer, what we supposed to use in our laboratory? Because it is a laboratory requirement for PCI that we must have a lyophilizer to run your master degree or any kind of.
I got your question. The question is, if we are having a lyophilizer, so how we can proceed with or how to optimize cycle? So as I mentioned on initial slides, there are different conventional techniques that we can go for, but these techniques are not accurate because we need to spend a lot of time in doing trial and errors. Like visual inspection is there, then a DSC is there. So that will give you approximate idea, but not exactly. So when we are having approximation values or approximate values, we have to play around those approximate values. So we spend a lot of time in doing trials and errors. And best among that will be our optimized cycle. And again, in that, we will not be sure that this is the right one because there is a range, how many times we can play and at what range we can play, because this whole process requires minimum 3 days. So it is a very costly and lengthy affair. So this is what we are getting is very tentative and rough estimate of cycle optimization. But if we use FDM and this lyotherm type of techniques, 100% we are sure that we are going to get the best product and the appropriate parameters for cycle.
Sir, may I ask one more question if permission is there? So, sir, my last question is that, sir, you said that optimization, but in case of mine, so to get my product, that I know that once I evaporate the compound and I will going to get this my product.
No,
so
I am
why
sure.
This, why this you were saying that because we know that peptides or proteins generally inactivate in greater than 40 degree or 60 degree. But it's not that as you are lyophilizing this, so it is always in minus degree. So it is not going to affect its structure, secondary conformation, or any kind of conformation of that peptide or protein. Why it is important? I didn't understand that optimization conditions.
Yeah. See, as you said, these are proteins and peptides and are not stable.
Yeah.
We are converting them into solid dosage form or solid state. Okay.
Yes,
so just converting into solid form is not enough. At molecular level, n number of changes are taking place that we never see with our naked eye.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Therefore, it has to be dried at low temperature, and therefore we are taking that sample down to minus 60, minus 90, likewise, or minus 40, depending upon.
Yes,
okay. So from where we have to start the drying, that information, or at what temperature or below that temperature we have to dry this material, that information we get by using these techniques. Now, your question was since the molecules are stable, unstable at 40 degrees Celsius or 30 degrees Celsius, we are drying material at low temperature. So what happens? It doesn't make any difference because that temperature is lower than the normal temperature.
Yes, sir.
So the thing that I was explaining, many molecular changes are taking place with the material when you dry them at low temperature.
Okay.
Okay, and a
Yes, sir.
product is getting collapse. Actually, collapse means what? There is change in physical state of a material. When the state of material is changed, all its related features are also getting changed. So as you said about secondary structure of a protein,
Yeah.
so the folding, unfolding issues, all these
Yeah.
things will be hampered if it is not dried below collapse temperature.
Okay.
At molecular level, you have to evaluate your product when it is dried.
Yeah.
So I will suggest you compare your dried product with the standard ones. Definitely, if you have not determined the collapse temperature values and if you dried the product, you will find difference in the values.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
Nice
Thank you.
information.
Thank you.
Hello,
Professor
am I
Sheikh
audible?
Nawaz.
Okay, sir. Get it.
Professor Sheikh Nawaz.
Good afternoon, Hazare sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, sir. Very nice and practical oriented session regarding this surplus dryer.
Okay,
My one question is that, sir, now we are shifting towards the nutraceuticals. Now
Yes.
this era, we are much
Yeah.
more focusing on that.
Yes,
So what
yes.
is the applicability of this dryer in case of nutraceuticals?
Sir, see, once again, I would like to tell that these two techniques are analytical techniques used to determine collapse temperature values. As you asked about applicability of these techniques, it's like a pharmaceutical and nutraceutical. They are one and same because these are the materials that we want to freeze dry. Okay, the same application it has in that we can dry even papers using freeze dryer. Freeze drying is used for any type of material drying where the materials are not stable.
Okay.
So when we want to freeze dry any material, first we need to determine these critical temperatures. And if we dry these materials below critical temperatures, yes, we are going to get a stable material. Otherwise, purpose of freeze drying material will not be served.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Professor Kiran.
Hello, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. Loud enough.
Very nice presentation, sir. Very lucid, very fully diagrammatic presentation. And I know it is a very difficult concept to understand because many of not knowing this subject. And you made it very clear and very nice presentation, and really feel proud to be your student.
Thank you.
There is a question regarding polymers
Yes.
when we work. So what we worked is that we take the polymer that was having different drug delivery applications. And when we are working on the lithium and lyostat, maybe you said that there is an effect of polymer. There is an effect on the polymer as well, because polymer also will be get affected with this temperature.
Yeah.
So what will be your advisory regarding this selection of polymer? Because it will be affect to the total product that you will get. So what will be your advisory? As we are selecting the product on the basis of drug delivery concept, or that may be our intention. So the one more thing is that industry is checking all the polymers alone. What is the effect of that with the critical temperatures?
Your first question was related with type of polymer to be used.
Yes, yeah, that's there. So what will be the total synergistic effect? We have to first check the polymers and all that.
See, very important thing that we need to know is why we use polymers. So what is actual function of polymer in freeze drying? Because when we have something to be dried, actually it should be dried as it is, but it is not possible. And therefore we incorporate certain cryoprotectants and lyoprotectants in it. So polymers are incorporated. Polymers can be incorporated for enhancing solubility. It can be incorporated to maintain a cake structure. It can be imparted to exhibit certain viscosity to the composition.
Yes.
So polymers has different applications. So what type of polymer and in what strength it is to be used, it depends upon for what functionality you are incorporating it in.
Yes.
The product. So that will decide what type of formulation is to be, what type of polymer is to be used.
Yes.
So take case example of PVP K30. As you gone through different papers
Yes.
which are published in some of the journals about PVP K30. We tried even PVP K90
Yes.
and
Yes,
other
sir.
grades also.
Great.
But only PVP K30 acts because this gives a proper strength to the cake. Other
Right,
polymers
right.
didn't give. So here the strength or the nature of cake is important. Another example is there are one drug called doxorubicin whose solubility is comparatively less. So in that
Yes,
case,
yes.
some other
You
polymers are incorporated as solubilizing agents.
right. That answered my questions.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It was very nice presentation.
Thank you.
There are a few questions still in chat box. Rajesh Kumar, he is asking about powder microscope studies of plant crude drugs can be done by using these techniques.
Yes, why not? Because this is high resolution microscope, but I don't think this is affordable affair. Because first thing, these microscopes are available with only few private organizations, not in research or private research organizations. Yes, but yes, it is 100% possible.
Okay. Sunita Shinde, she is asking, is a polymer affects the temperature in lyophilization cycle?
Polymer affects temperature in lyophilization cycle. Yes, obviously, why not? Because temperature and concentration of solute both are related, as we studied in colligative properties. As we incorporate a solute in any system, obviously the properties of the system are going to change.
Okay. We'll take some few questions from YouTube.
Yes.
Mr. Parikh, he is asking about what is the difference between liotherm and DSC?
Liotherm gives differential analysis, whereas in case of DSC, we get as such, there is no difference, but major thing is that here it is integrated because in DSC, sample is heated to high degree. This facilities you will not find in liotherm because it is differential thermal analysis.
Okay, thank you, sir. One more question. Vipul Prajapati, he is asking, which one is better for work when we compare Lyostat versus Liotherm?
See, both alone are not enough. Both in combination will give best result.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for answering all the questions raised by the delegates. It was very nice session and interactive. I would like to request Dr. D.A. Bhagwat sir to give a vote of thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for very informative deliberation on freeze drying, analytics, Liotherm, and Liostat. Sir has thoroughly explained why freeze drying is necessary, freeze drying cycle development, analytical techniques used, importance of critical temperature in freeze drying, effect of formulation components on critical temperature. He also delivered the concept of Liostat and its components, Liostat softwares, concept of Liotherm and its benefits with the case studies. I hope all delegates will benefited with this talk. Once again, I am thankful to Professor Dr. Hazare sir for very informative presentation. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ashok Hazare sir and delegates.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
With this, I declare this session is over. There is one announcement. Tomorrow there will be no session. All the delegates are requested to join next session on Tuesday at 10:45 a.m. Thank you. Have a good day. Stay happy. Stay safe.